Hi, I just wanted to come on here and do a quick video because I was reminded today about a conversation that I like to keep having, and it's important to keep having. And it's been uncomfortable to have with people for about the past 4 years now since I've been starting to talk about this. But it's getting more comfortable, and people are starting to realize that what I am saying rings true for a lot of people, both clients and colleagues. And so I would like to read to you a comment that I got today from someone that saw a podcast that I was in about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, with the massage business mama, my friend Allie. It's episode 36 if you want to take a look at it. I'll try to find a link and link it in the description. And uh, it's a conversation about somatic healing and what that means to people and how that is approached and the ethics of it. So I'll just read this comment that I got. Let me click off. Okay, so I didn't realize that the video would stop when I clicked to try to view this comment. So I started it back. Now I'm looking at it on a different screen. So the comment says, thank you. I listened to the podcast episode with you on a line with the massage business mama, my friend Allie, and I am so excited to learn more. I'm studying with the Upledger craniosacral therapy, and what you said about how traumatic some of the somato-emotional work can be when someone doesn't have a really stable nervous system really clicked for me. As a client, I definitely had a rough experience during this work, and your insight made it all make sense for me. Thank you. This is something I will certainly keep in my mind as a practitioner, and I think it's important to have more tools in my toolbox moving forward. Then she talks about another thing that I inspired her for. So that basic excerpt is the conversation that I like to have with people, with clients, with colleagues, about how ethical is it to engage in some of these somatic practices that intentionally trigger our past trauma and under the guise of releasing the trauma. When the trauma is our trauma, it's part of us. It needs to be integrated and supported and transformed and supported through that process, not re-triggered, not re-traumatized, not released. And the dynamic that process creates between a client and a practitioner often involves trauma bonding and codependency. And the somatic experiencing therapy and somatic work itself, especially some more aggressive treatments like internal pelvic work for sexual abuse clients, it's a traumatic experience for them. It's not ethical. And it's unnecessary in most of the cases that I see, like 99% of the cases that I see. Even as a manual therapist, most releases of physical restriction, they can happen with exterior visceral mobilizations. There needs to be no interior work. And it becomes a situation, and I've experienced this with clients in the past, where it's almost like drug-seeking behavior, and they come to you and they want this work that can be particularly painful and emotional, unnecessarily triggering and re-traumatizing them. So we as practitioners need to really respect that and look at what we're doing, look at what we're facilitating in the care with our clients. You know, I have this conversation with people, with clients and practitioners, and I get one of two responses. The first response is people like this woman today, who she was another massage therapist. She's had personal experience with receiving these therapies, and she feels seen, she feels heard. I'm able to put words to something she experienced that she maybe felt bad about experiencing because she wants it to help her. She wants it to be helpful. You know, people that have experienced trauma come to get therapy because they want it to work. So there's already a little bit of that confirmation bias involved in the situation. And then, then I get that experience, that response from people. And then the other response I get from clients and practitioners, and some practitioners have also been clients of this work and receivers of this therapy, like this woman. But the other response I get is one of defensiveness and confirmation bias and somewhat aggressive defensiveness sometimes, and something on the lines of a Stockholm syndrome, where the patient or the captive identifies and creates an affectionate relationship with the captor or the therapist that they're trauma bonded to. So it's a very, very tricky conversation to have, but realistically we need to be aware of this, and we need to be honoring that, and we need to be shifting the approach and the therapies and the treatment theories and techniques that I've developed help align the nervous system. So when you have someone, if you are a practitioner and you're going to be doing a somatic experiencing session with someone, first of all, you should have them do an adverse childhood experiences questionnaire. And if they score high on that questionnaire, immediately you should not do somatic experiencing or any other aggressive somatic therapy. You should start with the treatment theories and the techniques that I've identified and that I teach to help align the body's nervous system, to facilitate and support the flow of energy that you will create when you engage in those somatic therapies with that person and that nervous system. So that needs to be done with anyone that has a high ACEs score, but it really should be done with anyone in general. Somatic experiencing in and of itself, and I know a lot of talk therapists use this that may not be as educated in the physiological processes of the body and actual body physiology organ systems. Even if you have somebody with a low ACEs score, say like 0 or 1, they might be inherently really resilient, but what if they had some kind of wild virus and were really, really sick recently or even years ago that created scar tissue around their liver, or were in a car accident and got scar tissue around their liver and diaphragm, or any kind of accident. This is just like hypothetical. And then those organs are restricted. Well, the flow of energy around that system goes through the whole body. And the liver is identified with the emotion of anger. So that person might be more predisposed to get angry and feel rage if they're not supported energetically, and if their viscera restrictions aren't released, if their energy system isn't in flow. They may have a really negative experience with somatic experiencing in that respect, and it might be re-traumatizing for them. Somebody that has had, perfect childhood and grew up really supported and, had a loving family and husband, and maybe in their late 30s or early 40s got cheated on by that husband or wife, and all of a sudden their life is kind of falling apart from underneath them. Them going through somatic experiencing might be a more productive experience because their nervous system has developed in a natural alignment and resilience because of the social experience that they had with their family growing up. Or likewise, they might have really good genetics as well, that might create a really innate genetic resilience in their nervous system and their autonomic processes and vagus nerve and everything that's governed by the vagus nerve. But, you get people that come to somatic experiencing and other somatic therapies that have had a significantly traumatic childhood. Some of them in foster care, some of them experiencing physical, sexual, emotional abuse as a child. And they go into this therapy, this somatic experiencing therapy, and it's nothing but a traumatic experience for them. And that is a damn shame. It's sad. It is tragic. And I feel like that is more likely than the first situation, to to be honest, because those people that are coming to you, to practitioners for somatic work, they most of the time have had some serious significant trauma, either in their childhood or in their adult life, and they're not able to deal with it in a resilient way, or else they wouldn't be coming to see you, you know? So there's so much we could talk about, and I love talking about this subject, and I'm finally getting some feedback from some of the people even I've talked to 4 years ago, some practitioners that I identified this with and raised this concern with, that were somatic experiencing practitioners, and finally some of them are starting to realize that what they are doing is trauma bonding their clients to them, and it's not helpful for anyone. So out with the old and with the new energies and ways of doing things. Out with the patriarchal control, domination perspective that we need to control our experience. We need to control how things are released. In with the supportive, lifting, loving, light perspective and energy, where we can appreciate what we've been through and let it flow through our body unencumbered, not causing problems in our physical and emotional self, in our experience in social interactions with people. And allowing that to be integrated will allow us actualization and to live our best lives, and to support others doing that in a sovereign space, interdependent, not codependent. Give this a like and subscribe and share if you agree with me, and if you want to be talking about this and having this conversation. I really appreciate it. And check out my other information that I've been putting out. I've gotten some things on a hobby YouTube station that I have called Elemental Alma, and I have a website, elementaladvanced.com, which is my teaching website. All my courses, online courses, are on there, and I'm getting ready to release a special for my online courses for the end of the year, having an awesome bonus to receive in 2025. Can't believe it. So stay on the lookout for that. And if you're a client and you want to book a session with me or sign up for some coaching or mentorship, you're also welcome to check out my client-facing site, which is elementaladvancedmt.com. And you can get to that through elementaladvanced.com by just clicking the home button. It'll kick you over there to the other site. But thank you for listening, and thank you for spending the time with me today. And yeah, let's start this conversation. Let's really integrate what we have to offer.